most people in the crypto community only study one project and they'll typically only show you one side of that story. However, what I do every single day is research multiple projects. I have multiple projects in my portfolio and I'm constantly searching for news in the overall crypto space. And I discuss several different projects in my regular streams as well as the overall economy. But what most people don't get to see is actually what goes into that kind of research. What do I do all day when I'm doing this kind of stuff? And I caught myself sitting here working tonight and thought, you know what? Now's a good opportunity to hang out with the rest of the crypto, excuse me, if I could learn how to talk today. Now's a good time to talk to the rest of the crypto community. And because I do believe that there's a lot of people out there with a lot of good information who are incredibly intelligent in this space and just want to be a part of the conversation, right? And so that's kind of what today is. I'm just going to share my evening with you all and we'll have a conversation. So anyone in the stream right now, engage in the chat, hit the like button to grow the stream so we can get some more people into this thing. Because again, my channel's more about the community. I try to give you guys the information and deep dives and kind of an idea of my overall philosophy. But ultimately, it's about the crypto community for the long view, right? The name is in the channel. I'm here for the long view. Not necessarily what's going to happen a week from today or a month from today, but what's going to happen 5 to 10 years down the road. But that's my way. Not to say that someone else's way is wrong, but that's how I'm looking at it. So what am I doing this evening? Well, I'm going to be honest, I've been diving deeper into Canton pretty much all weekend, and I honestly, no joke for my regular subscribers, I am an XRP holder, as everyone knows. I actually have gone out and I have enlisted an XRP maxi to debate me against CC, to try and bring me down a notch. Because again, you guys know I try not to get too high on one thing. And I'm starting to run away with CC a little bit once I started to get into the math of and the potential of what it could be. And I start coming up with words from AI that say things like inevitable and things like that. I'm like, okay, I need to step away for a minute. I need to get some perspective. Let me bring someone else in, try and talk me down a little bit. So we're going to have pretty much a full-on discussion. So if you've ever had questions or things you want me to research in the stream, now is the time. Because I know there's always questions, like people have asked what I think about Tau, what I think about other projects, Zebek, Stronghold, things like that. So if you want me to look into something tonight, now is an excellent time to do so. So again, let me just take a quick peek at the chat and make sure everything is working real quick before I get too far deep into what I'm personally doing. And again, hit the like button. It helps the stream grow. The more likes a stream gets in the first 5 minutes, the amount of likes a stream gets in its first 5 minutes determines how large it'll grow. I actually figured that out not too long ago. And let me just say hello to the regulars who hopped in on a whim. This was kind of a surprise stream. I usually never stream on Sundays. And again, I was sitting here and I was doing some research. I'm like, you know what? I feel like hanging out with the community. I feel like talking. So honestly, this is me wanting to hang out with you guys and do some research. I'm sharing my Sunday evening with you. This is what I would have been doing anyway. I'd been sitting in the same spot, doing the same thing I'm going to be doing, except I could share it with you guys and talk to you guys. So Kelly made it in the house today. Todd Madison jumped in on a Sunday night. Raul's here. Alberto Garcia made it. Abdul made it. Everyone's in the house today. What's going on, everybody? You think this is a short squeeze? I think, in reference to what's happening with price right now, I think this is the markets getting happy. And I say that for this reason. I think the markets are getting happy right now because there's talk of world coalition to force open the Strait of Hormuz, right? Announcement with Japan and the US, the US being Japan's primary supplier of energy. So we've had some major announcements economically over the weekend in regards to just economic deals and in regards to what's happening with the Strait of Hormuz and the overall Iran situation. So right now there's a little bit of a feel-good buzz going on because there's multiple countries helping to form basically a fleet to keep the strait open and without any issues. Let's see here. JF Remix made it in the house today. Hello. Alberto says, or this an altcoin season. I don't think we're going to have a traditional altcoin season. I kind of said that a while ago. I know a lot of people have been talking about it, but I kind of said that a while ago when institutions really got involved. And there's just so many things now that are influencing price for different reasons. Like if I pull up crypto bubbles right now, let's see, and I pretty much have my crypto bubbles set to the top 25, right? But if I pull up crypto bubbles right now, it's all green, but for the month, let's see, you got some red, you got some green. Like there are several different cryptocurrencies that are moving somewhat independently from Bitcoin, a lot more than there used to be, for that matter. And so I don't think we're necessarily going to get your typical alt cycle, if you will, but I don't know when the next pump is going to be. No one knows. There will be another one, and we'll get into that here in a little bit because I'm going to share some of the research I've been doing this weekend that got me so high on Canton Network that I feel like I need to be talked out a little bit. Chip, where was I going with that? Oh, altcoin season. But I think there's going to be another large pump that's going to be utility based, that's going to be adoption based, that's going to be institutionally based. I do think there will be another large pump. And during that time, I think we're going to start seeing a definition of the winners from the losers. But that's just how I look at it, because there's so much institutional money starting to come in and institutional building and tokenization ramping up, that I think what's there is there. We've had so many new projects come online, and Clarity's taken so long to catch up. I don't think a lot of those new projects are really gonna grab weight until maybe years down the line when they start moving into retail. And we can discuss that too. I have my own theory of how adoption is going to take place. Retail, I think, is going to be the last part of that. So your retail payment stuff like XLM, Zebek, things like that, I'm kind of on the fence until we get clarity and I find out exactly what's going to happen with retail payments, because stable coins are in the mix. Lots of things to discuss. You guys see, I can get derailed and just talk. That's why sometimes these just Q&As are good, because you get my brain going. AI many times just says what you want to hear, not necessarily about CC, just anything in general. You are absolutely right, Kelly, and that's why, and I'm not talking about, when I made mention about how I got some things with AI, then let me go this to say, number one, I recognize something very important that most people don't understand about AI. AI is only as good as the human entering the prompts. True story, because number one, you have to fact check it, and you have to make sure and do your due diligence even with AI. It makes what I've learned with AI and watching people use AI, at least how it is right now, until it gets to be agentic, like truly agentic AI, it's only as good as the user, because you have to ask the right questions and you have to look for the right information with the AI. So for someone like me who is great at asking the deeper questions, well, if that means this, then this means this. AI makes it really easy for me because I can get the answer and I can fact check it and then start building my thesis. It's basically like an extra research tool. And that being said, I cross-reference multiple AI. I can show you kind of my research. I can show you. I have it all pulled up here, ready to go. You can see I have Grok, GPT, and Gemini all pulled up because I cross-reference multiple. I use all three. It's not just one AI. So when I'm doing this, I have, Believe me, I'm not just letting it tell me what I want to hear. We'll get into it because it was math based when I'm discussing the kind of the outlook I was getting for CC, and I can explain my reasoning, and we'll actually do it together here. I'll share it with you guys here in a minute as far as the outlook I got for CC and what I entered into it to get the results. Hopefully it's still in there. It should be still in there. If not, I can run through the process again with you guys. Let's see here. Let me get back to the chat. What's your opinion of the Clarity Act? Again, I'm still hopeful for before midterms. A lot of people are still thinking it's going to happen before the end of April. I do not. I've kind of still stood on my ground that I think it's going to be done before midterms ever since it didn't happen in mid-January, right? Ever since things started getting pushed back in mid-January, I kind of had the feeling it was going to be held up. And again, another reason why I'm high on CC we'll discuss. Daniel Capru, that's a new name. Where are you from, Daniel? I haven't seen that one. Welcome to the stream. Have you heard anything on the yen carry trade? The yen is high, price of oil is high. Have you heard anything else? Nothing else. The only thing I've heard in regards to the yen carry trade is actually bad for the yen carry trade as far as it unfolding. And that is that Japan just signed for the U.S. to be their primary supplier of energy. Remember, prior to the U.S. invading Iran, Japan got 90% of their oil from the Strait of Hormuz. So Japan is now that we've ramped up oil production and natural gas production in the United States, Japan is coming to us for their oil. And apparently, again, rumors circulating around there that the United States and China are now negotiating new trade talks. The entire economic foundation as far as the world economy is truly shifting beneath our feet in real time, not just with the superpowers and the super economies in the world, but with this transition to digital finance and blockchain. So there's literally two giant moving pieces that are falling into this narrative and trying to position ourselves in the right place. It's kind of why we have to understand clarity, understand how clarity is going to work, understand what's going on with oil and what impact the global economies and these global transitions are going to have as far as cross-border payments and digital finance. What's going to happen with commodities? Again, still waiting on clarity and how things are going to be defined, not only in our country, but in several other countries as well. Because we get excited, and I still love my XRP, still hold my XRP, haven't sold a single one, still tied for number one in my bag. But as we're looking around, again, I try to be honest and clear, okay? So when we're talking about XRP, yes, it just got approval in Australia with their licensing. Yes, it got approval with Europe and the UK with their licensing, Singapore, as well as ties in Africa and South America. We're just waiting on clarity in the United States. But again, that's Ripple getting those licenses. Again, XRP is plugged in the center of everything they do. I have said many times, the question is, do we believe Ripple or not when it comes to XRP? So, yes, all of these things are happening, but that's for Ripple payments and bringing activity onto the XRPL. Again, we need assets onto the XRPL, which is where I come to the next phase of assets on the XRPL. Let me know in the chat what you guys think about this right now, okay? How much money's worth, what kind of value do you believe comes on chain via tokenization to any blockchain? I'm just saying, tokenization as a whole, the concept of tokenization. How much value do you believe comes on chain by 2030? We've heard bear cases, if you will, or very, very conservative cases of 10 to 15 trillion. We've heard bull cases of like 40 to 80 trillion dollars worth of value, and we've heard very bull cases of 300 to 400 trillion in value. When we're talking about the other money market funds, when we're talking about digital securities or tokenized securities, tokenized stocks, tokenized derivatives, right? As of this point, maybe last week when I looked up the exact total, the exact data, but maybe as of 2 weeks ago, we'll say to be safe, there was only 1% of everything that's going to be tokenized. 1%. So we've heard of companies talking about, like we've said, with the different valuations, like BlackRock saying everything's going to be tokenized and people can't tokenize fast enough. Robinhood saying tokenization's a freight train. It's coming for everything. So let me know. We'll come back to that, and it'll remind my memory when I start getting to those chats. But let me know how many trillions, quadrillions, billions, whatever, how much total value do you think comes on to blockchain and tokenization? Just blockchain in general, not one specific blockchain. We're just talking about tokenization. What do you think global tokenization looks like in the year 2030? What kind of value? Let's see. Heiner Dog. I don't recognize that name. Where are you from? Let's see. Ripple has a lot of contact at higher level with the IMF, EU. Don't forget about the World Economic Forum as well. Does CC have contacts like Ripple? Yes. I'll hop into that in a little bit. Alberto Garcia is crying. My opinion of the Clarity Act, yeah. Again, I still think it gets done this year, but I'm not optimistic before April. Salamander believes Canton will be a top 5 token. I believe it is at least a top 5 token, me personally. The world is starting to help each other now, even Cuba. It's crazy what happens with a little bit of crisis. I mean, sometimes, God, hopefully not literally as I say this, but sometimes you gotta blow things up and start over. I'm not talking about literally, but I mean, the way the world has been going over the last several years has just been freaking horrible. I mean, we can get political if you want, but I'm just talking in general. The way people treat each other, the way people's morals are, the way people talk to each other, the blatant disrespect and lack of decorum in people, just how people carry themselves is I feel like is god awful, at least in our country, at least in the United States. But then I talk to people who are in Europe, and they talk about having the same kind of immigration problems that we're having here in the United States, as far as a constant battle over illegal immigrants versus getting them out versus what's happening with our people. Like, this is not an isolated U.S. problem. There's a lot of people who do not like the way the world has been going. And of course, sometimes it takes extremists and crisis to open people's eyes to things. And I feel like we're kind of getting a little bit of that. And I'm not saying it's a good thing for Trump. I'm not saying he did something good or anything like that. This is not me choosing a side. But all I'm saying is that sometimes crisis creates clarity. And I think some people's eyes are starting to open up to how rough the world really is right now, and that we need to all start working together again. This every man for himself bullshit is not working. All right, great information. Okay, I've just been shooting the shit to this point. Alberto, I've got some info coming for you guys. Raul wants me to spill the beans on CC, and you want me to look into Wilfi. Okay. So I promised some CC information first. Heiner Dog, I will get to that from Idaho. I got you. I never delivered freight to Idaho. I never shipped a lot of potatoes or anything needed to grow potatoes, I suppose. So CC, let me get to the correct screen here. You want me to spill the beans on CC. Let's see if I can just pull up the data I did earlier with Grok that I cross-referenced and see if I can find it. It doesn't have my, history. Hang on. Let's see here. So I said, I want you to help me forecast the performance of CC. Currently, the burn to mint ratio of CC is at a 0.83. January 3rd of 2026, they had gone from 837K per day in fees to 3 million per day as of March 5th, whatever date I wrote this, okay? Currently, the blockchain is doing roughly 5% of repo at 250 to 350 billion per day. Can you do deep research into tokenization and markets coming on chain and the expectation over the next 10 years as adoption and utility ramps up? Do deep research to correct inaccuracies in my statements. To me, it seems inevitable that the token will become deflationary very soon as utility continues to ramp up. If the price is now 15.2 cents at the current level of utility, what is the story of CC over the next 10 years? I currently hold 60,000 CC. So I kind of gave you guys my bag number. Shh, don't tell anybody. All right, here's what they said. CC appears to be the native token of Canton Network, a blockchain platform designed for institutional-grade tokenization, settlement, and synchronization across financial markets. It's backed by major players like Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, BNP Paribas, NASDAQ, Deposit Treasury Clearing Corporation, DTCC. If you guys have seen any of my discussions on Canton Network, I have covered that before. With a focus on real-world asset tokenization and interoperability. The network processes transactions like repo agreements. Broadridge handles 365 plus billion in daily repo volume through the Canton rails, which is what I was referencing. And 100% of the network fees are priced in USD and are used to buy and burn in CC, creating a direct link between usage and token deflation. Does that system sound familiar to anyone but improved? Does this system of tokenomics sound familiar? So I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser or a little bit of a spoiler to a future stream I'm going to be doing. I'm currently working on a stream that's XRP versus Canton. So when I say 100% of the network fees are priced in USD, they are used to buy and burn CC, creating a direct link between usage and token deflation. Does this tokenomics setup sound like an improved version of something? Hint, it's not XRP or XRPL. It's Ethereum. As I've been doing more and more research, Canton Network is a direct competitor to Ethereum. It is a privatized, streamlined version of Ethereum built directly for institutions. This aligns with your description of mandatory burns for settlement, a burn-to-mint ratio climbing towards deflationary territory. Recent data shows approximately 0.83, up from lower levels, and currently capturing 5% of global repo markets while burning 15 million CC daily, equivalent to approximately 2.3 million at 0.152 per CC, close to your 3 million figure. So it says your provided data seems largely accurate based on available sources. No major corrections are needed. Fees have indeed ramped up from 837 to 3 million by mid-March, driven by institutional adoption. The blockchain's utility is tied to on-chain finance, where fees reflect actual transaction volume rather than speculation. With a double halving in January, the reduced new issuance emissions now favor validators and builders over early rewards. The supply dynamics are shifting rapidly toward net deflation as burns approach or exceed mints. So basically, it verified that all the information I entered in here was true. So deep research on tokenization. Tokenization is key because basically the success of Canton or Canton Coin is going to depend solely on the success of tokenization and the adoption of tokenization markets. So tokenization, the act of converting real-world assets like bonds, real estate, equities, commodities, and funds into blockchain-based digital tokens, is poised for explosive growth as adoption ramps. This will drive utility for platforms like Canton, enabling faster, cheaper, and more transparent settlement. Fractional ownership and cross-border flows. Here's a synthesized overview from diverse sources representing stakeholders like consultancies, banks, and analysts to avoid bias. So again, depending on the size of tokenization, market size projections, estimates based vary on inclusion, excluding stablecoins and some forecasts, but consensus points to trillions of tokenized assets by 2030, 2035. McKinsey projects 2 to 4 trillion by 2030, focusing on mutual funds, bonds, and loans. Ripple forecasts 18.9 trillion by 2033. Standard Chartered sees 30 trillion by 2034. More bullish views show 61.5 trillion by 2035 and 16 trillion. So again, going up, up, up. Depends on how much you think is actually going to be tokenized. Now, where is it? So the story of CC over the next 10 years. In the near term, 2026 to 2028, deflationary crossover and institutional ramp. With burn mint at 0.83 and daily fees nearing 3 million, CC is weeks/months from net deflation as the DTCC's tokenized treasury rollout begins. So it's saying as soon as DTCC goes live, it's on the brink of entering a deflationary state. Q1, Q2, fees could 3 to 5x from 9 million to 15 million per day if Canton captures 15-25% of repo markets, pushing burns to 50 million to 100 million CC per day. Supply shrinks, post-halving emissions have already halved, while demand grows from validators staking for rewards and institutions requiring CC for settlement. Price targets 40 cents to $1 by the end of 2026, a 6 to 7x. Scaling $1 to $5 by 2028 as tokenized assets hit 2 trillion to 11 trillion per McKinsey and ARK. Again, that is the bear case. So again, they're predicting a $1 to $5 XRP by 2028 under a bear case or base case. Midterm, utility explosion, tokenization reaches 10 trillion to 30 trillion. This is if we get 10 to 30 trillion by 2030-ish. BCG standard charter midpoint. So this is kind of the midpoint of what they were thinking. With RWAs like real estate, private credit, and funds dominating, Canton as a global synchronizer for banks and DTCCs could process 20 to 30% of on-chain finance. Example, 2 trillion to 6 trillion in daily inflows, generating 100 million plus in daily fees, and burning billions in CC annually, exceeding mints by 2 to 5x. Deflationary pressure compounds, circulating supply drops 20 to 50% over years, amplified by zero VC unlocks. All early capital was equity based. So again, the validators, right? The validators and VCs and stuff like that, they have to lock 70% or 65 or 70% of all the CC that they receive that's minted has a lock timer on it. So they can't release it until after 2030. I have to go back and look up the exact date for when that happens. So right now there will be no more, like the mint schedule is set and they can't even release the unlocks until later on. So there's not going to be any more, there's not going to be an increase of CC coming to the market other than what's already happening for at least, I think, 3 to 5 years. Utility expands to AI verified trades, cross-border payments, and carbon credits. Price $5 to $20 as market cap hits 200 to 800 billion. 15 to 20x burn multiples, conservative versus Ethereum's history. Holdings are now 300 to 1.2 million. And again, this was the bear case that they came up with. Again, that's factoring in 10 to 30 trillion in tokenized assets by 2030. The more tokenized assets, again, determining on how much of a piece Canton gets of that, you can start to see where these numbers can get explosive. Now, I know a lot of people have been burned before. And again, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is my own personal research. But I'm taking this with a grain of salt, but also want you guys to understand we have data that we can compare to. We already see the burn rate at 0.83 based on its current utility, not based that we're not talking about the price of the token. We're talking about the burn rate based on its current utility. So as we see tokenization ramp up, as long as it continues to get its part of the market cap, if you will, we will see its percentage of usage go up as well. And how can we become confident that it's going to go to the Canton Network? Well, that's because the major institutions that we just talked about were the ones that are investing in it. Those are the ones that are the validators, right? Those are the ones that received the freshly minted Canton, right? That's why they built on it. So yeah, they don't care that they have to lock up their CC for 2, 3, 5 years. They're already planning on getting a massive return on it. Can you imagine? Like, again, we can always bank on people doing what's in their best interest when it comes to finance, right? So when you have people like JP Morgan going on here, to me, I'm sitting there like, well, JP Morgan was one of the early validators of this, and they're cool with locking up their Canton. Huh. Yeah, I'm sure they are, considering they probably got most of theirs, for sub 10 cents. And we're looking at this being, what, $20 to $100 in 10 years. In a bear case. That's with like 10 to $30 trillion coming on in tokenization. I think there's going to be way more than that. This has the opportunity to be explosive if it gets its share of the market cap. What do you guys think? Let's look at the chat. Talk me down. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Poke holes in my theory here. Poke holes in the thesis, please. I beg of you. Idaho. All right. The immigration problem in Europe is major. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I've seen, I've heard the complaints. Yeah, it's Europe is not good. No bueno. Oil is going to go crazy once reserves run low. That is the truth. Absolutely. Raul picked up a lot of potatoes up there. Yeah, I shipped potatoes out of California and onions out of California, but I never did any shipments out of Idaho. Canton, $1.25 by July. It's definitely possible. It depends on what happens with the DTCC pilots and when those roll out and what kind of volume that brings to the actual network. But that's what I really, really like about the Canton Network is we can see the volume come onto the chain. We can see it moving differently than Bitcoin and other cryptos. We can see the connection as far as why institutions would build there is very apparent to me. Right? It's going to benefit them to build there. So that makes sense to me. I just, I don't know. It's very possible. It depends on what happens with these DTCC pilots and what volume comes on there, because its success is going to be completely dictated based on the amount of tokenization that comes along. And that's why I'm banking on it, honestly, because I do believe tokenization is a freight train. It's not going anywhere. Tokenization is not dictated by the Clarity Act. These things we're discussing have nothing to do with stablecoin yield or retail DeFi or any of that crap. So what they're actually doing with Canton and tokenization really has zero impact from Clarity. I mean, it does have impact because it has less impact. How about that? Because if Clarity goes through, tokenization will go even faster. But that's probably the biggest impact. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, right? But as my daughter caught me the other day, when I say you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, my daughter, God bless her heart, she is my child without missing a beat. She didn't even think about the response. She just said, yeah, but you can stop squeezing it. That's true. So this can always slow down, right? I don't think they're going to be able to pull back what they've done, but they can always slow it down. And I'm afraid that could happen if Clarity Act fails. It's not going away, but they can slow it down. Judah, hi all. Salute to all in the chat, or salute. Yeah, it's been a good chat. I'm glad everyone's here today. I appreciate the super chat, Salamander. Thanks for what you do here from Texas. What part of Texas are you from, Salamander? I lived in Wichita Falls, Texas for 6 years. I was stationed there when I was in the Air Force. I also spent time in San Antonio when I went there for basic training. I love Texas. I live in Kansas City now, but I spent a lot of time in Texas. I do like Texas. Nice and warm down there, which I do like. Your beaches suck, though, down in Corpus. I have to say that. I say that I only went once. It could have been the area I went to, but the area I went to was garbage. I heard Clarity Act failed or is expected to fail. Not FUD. What am I missing? It's FUD. It's the same story, Roger. It's the same story in regards to Trump not signing anything till the SAVE Act's through. And it is literally the same chirping we've been hearing for 2 weeks. So I promise, Roger, if I get something that's real when it comes to Clarity, if I get a real update other than they're just chirping, I will definitely let you know. But I'm not spreading misinformation about Clarity. I just won't do it. I'm not gonna overhype Clarity. Enough people struggle to understand our government systems as it is. I don't need to add I don't need to add to those struggles. Roger said you missed Raul says, Roger, you missed the $1 million giveaway. I missed it. I won $1 million. Who's giving away? Raul, you're giving away $1 million? Did XRP go to $200 or something? I didn't realize it. The fact that some of it will be locked away for a few years definitely helps. Absolutely. Yeah, they have to, like, the validators and the app developers, that there is a lock model on the CC that they get minted. So that'll help keep it suppressed, but it also means that those validators are going to be wealthy when Canton appreciates in value. I mean, could you imagine? I mean, these are the base case numbers that I was reading here. Like the base case. That's not even the bull case, okay? We're talking 10 to 30 trillion in tokenized assets, okay? The bull case of tokenization is 300 to 400 trillion in tokenized assets. Think about that. So really what the way I'm kind of looking at it for me as I'm looking at Canton is I'm betting on how far is tokenization going to go. And when you're looking at Canton and XRP, again, spoiler alert, because I'll be doing a more in-depth video or stream on this when it comes to XRP versus Canton. When you look at these two, they operate in different layers of the space. However, they kind of run parallel to each other. So Canton is your institutional settlement layer, and they're very much like Ethereum, right? As far as tokenization, settling of tokenized assets, whereas XRP is a liquidity bridge. It's there as almost like a DEX to swap back and forth between tokenized assets. So they work almost in consortium together, almost in parallel together. I could see both XRP and Canton being successful moving forward based on their infrastructure build out and their adoption and backing. A lot of them have connections with the same people. Again, remember, Chainlink has partnered with Canton Network. Zebek partnered with Lattice to bring a neobank to Canton Network. And then we have XRP partnering and doing things with God knows everybody else at this point. I mean, they're all plugged in everywhere. Clarity will be key. I mean, it's going to ramp things up. It's going to speed things up. But they both operate in separate areas of the space, almost in parallel together. Canton has a good model. I do agree. I like their tokenization model. It's very clear. It shows the value up front. So absolutely. And I already took care of that one. I made sure I got that there. Here we go. El Paso, Texas. Okay. El Paso. I almost got stationed in San Angelo, Texas. San Antonio, Texas for Jose Mendez. Lots of Texas folks out here. I'm gonna. Kansas City barbecue's better. Sorry, it is, guys. You guys do the best brisket though. Texas, I give Texas their props. Y'all do the best brisket, but y'all overcook your pork down there, man. I'm sorry. Kansas City has better overall barbecue than Texas. I know them's fighting words down there. DTCC does McDonald's numbers in a business day. They are with Canton. The tokenization is going to go bananas. Well, again, remember, when everyone keeps saying DTCC is going to Canton. Number one, let me be clear. DTCC said they are going to adopt multiple blockchains. They did say that. They said Canton was the first. Okay? And they chose them specifically for privacy. As soon as XRPL got their privacy layer taken care of, DTC announced they're going to be working with them too. Okay. I'm not saying that Canton Network's going to capture everything. I'm not saying that XRPL is going to capture everything. But they're capturing things now. Like, activity is on chain. I can see it happening. This makes a big deal for me when it comes to the things I'm choosing. I can actually see what's being built. I can see value on Ledger. I can see transactions on Ledger. I can see the tokenomics actually working on the Canton Network. I'm sorry, we can't say that about XRP yet. We have not seen the tokenomics work from utility yet on XRP. I do believe they're going to, but I have to be honest and say we can't see that yet. We have to be honest. I can see that on the Canton Network. That's why I like the math model that I just came up with. Those trillions of assets to be tokenized, does it mean each share of each stock in ETF? Yes. Tokenized stocks, tokenized ETF, tokenized commodities like gold, silver, tokenized oil, right? Tokenized ETFs, tokenized money market funds, tokenized derivatives, tokenized real estate, tokenized mortgage bonds, like tokenized treasuries. I mean, they're already trading. That's what they're doing with repo a lot of times, is tokenized treasuries and tokenized bonds. Okay, we are literally just like a fingernail into this thing right now. When you think about what's actually come on chain, that's why it's so exciting for me. And honestly, that's why I'm excited about Canton, because I feel like I was early to XRP and then I had to sell and then come back in and start over. Like with Canton, I feel like it's another one of those XRP projects, but I just happen to get in early again. So maybe that's why I'm so super excited, over the moon about it. But yeah, I have very, very high hopes for it. But there was one scenario it ran that was absolutely freaking nuts. I didn't pull it up there because it was way out there, but I asked it to run the and I also cross-referenced it with GPT, and GPT agreed. Gemini said it was a little conservative given the data, which I thought was interesting. So, I mean, we had an agreement between Grok and GPT. I'm sure Elon won't like that. And then Gemini said it was a little conservative. So then I ran a new model with the 300 to 400 trillion tokenization by 2036. And it said that my Canton stack would be anywhere between 700 million and 1.3 billion. So, I don't know. Zebek also has some new deal brewing with Canton besides Lattice. Well, that'll be interesting because once they actually bring the value to the ledger, right? It's going to be keeping them there, and you're going to keep them there with user experience, right? And I feel like Zebek is kind of leading in that case. I could see them partnering with people to help improve the user experience, because they work more like a traditional, like neobank type thing with their all-in-one app. We'll see how that plays out, but they're building some interesting things. Zebek can benefit a lot from Canton. Joel from Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome, Joel. I remember Joel Dawes. I'll remember that name. Abdiel, what exchange is best to buy Canton? There's no best exchange to buy it. You can get it from several. I will tell you this. Before anyone goes out and buys Canton, again, not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. Do your own due diligence. I literally have showed you what I have done here and what I've done for myself and given you my reasoning. But you can get it from Uphold, Kraken. Now, the thing with Canton, you can't transfer it to a traditional cold storage wallet. Because it's an institutional asset. So you can't move it around to traditional cold storage wallets. There are a few niche hardware wallets that you can store it on, but most people are going to be storing it on the exchange they buy it from or in institutional custody. So me personally, I bought the bulk of my CC through Caleb and Brown because I can store it in their free institutional custody. But that's just me. But it's also available on Robinhood, Uphold, Kraken, and a few others. But you can get it any of those. Just remember, you're not going to be able to transfer it to traditional cold storage wallet. Dude, how much CC do you have? I have at least 50,000. How about that? I'll leave it at that. I have at least 50,000 CC at the current moment and growing. Do you think Canton will be an IPO NASDAQ? I do not think Canton will be. And thank you again for the super chat. I appreciate that. Again, all money that this channel makes goes back to promoting the streams. The entire purpose is to grow the community and grow the channel. So I just want you guys to know where your money is going, and I very much appreciate it because it's literally going to help promote these streams and get more people here to grow this community, get more conversation, get more ideas flowing through together with this community. So I appreciate the donation. That being said, I do not think Canton will be an IPO on NASDAQ. Remember, Canton is the blockchain. Canton Network is the blockchain. Digital Asset is the company behind the blockchain, and CC is the native token. They use it essentially for gas fees on the blockchain. So the company behind NASDAQ, the company behind Canton can certainly IPO. I don't expect them to, though, because that's why they got the money invested from Goldman Sachs, DTCC. Remember, they had a second raising where they had the New York Stock Exchange, CME Group. Like, they have major institutional backing, investing directly into digital asset. Since 2017 is when they started building, but they actually didn't unleash the blockchain until 2023 and didn't even do a token until I think it was late 2024, early 2025 is when the token actually came out, and no one even heard of the token until it was announced pretty much in December, on December 8th, that they were moving with the DTCC. So I don't think we're going to see digital asset IPO, much like Ripple. I don't know if Ripple will IPO. They don't need to. They have so much private money coming in to help them build. I mean, Ripple themselves has just announced they're going to be buying back $750 million worth of their shares at a $50 billion valuation, which again gives me even more conviction on how these things are going, because the companies behind them are building out. We haven't necessarily seen appreciation in price because the assets haven't been used as much yet, because again, we're still waiting for more tokenization to come on chain. But so I don't think digital assets going to IPO, but remember, they do have their DAT treasury company, not digital asset. Another Theramune created their own Canton strategic asset holding company that is available to invest in as well. Again, and when we look at the investors into that, you see names like Vanguard and BlackRock are investing in the actual digital treasury company that's holding Canton. So sometimes we have to look behind all the little windows to connect the dots and see what money's hiding where. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it is available on Kraken. Nice going. Good for you. I have 10% of that. Hey, everyone has, again, it's not a comparison. The fact that we're here investing for the long view, I've been doing this for longer too, right? And I also just sold a house. So I have a lot of capital sitting on hand that I can make purchases if I see something. I'm in a blessed position. Given all the crap I've been through over the last few years, I have to admit I came out in a blessed position. I came out on my feet. It sucked for a long time and I was struggling and it was tough, but I came out on my feet and it's going well. I'm happy to be here. And Salamander, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And again, again, guys, everyone, I stream every single day, Monday through Saturday at noon. Live streams are usually targeted on one topic for the first 15 to 20 minutes. And then it opens up to a lot like what we're doing today. Just sitting here talking, hanging out, discussing crypto, seeing where everyone's from, and building a community. And I absolutely love it. The stream's been going great just because people want to be heard. People want a community again. People want to cut through the hype and the noise and be able to actually discuss crypto on like a level-headed, grounded playing field without getting stuff forced down their throats. Now, granted, I mean, I have to be clickbaity with the titles every once in a while, guys. I mean, the present has to look nice to unwrap for people to look inside. Okay. And unfortunately, that's the way human psychology works. I have found out. I do have to sacrifice a little bit and be slightly clickbaity on the titles in order to attract new people into the stream for them to actually get the idea of what the stream even is. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. And if you guys are new to the stream too, I do offer memberships as well. Right now, memberships are $7.99, and that for my first core members, every Wednesday night, we are doing a Google Hangout that's going to be much similar to this, except quicker conversations, right? Where we can all discuss, and it'll be more about kind of what this is, research, the view of the channel, the growth of the channel, the direction of the channel, the direction of the community involvement and community participation, things like that. That's what it's going to be all about. Canton is the easiest decision in crypto. It's not even close. It's looking more and more that way. I'm very high on it. Obviously, I'm high on my XRP. I'm also high on my Chainlink and my HBAR and my Ondo. I love all of them. I'm no longer adding to my Ondo stack. If you can't tell, I'm heavily focused on tokenization because I feel like in the crypto space, especially with how up in the air Clarity's been and the way the banks are pushing back and forth with everything, like it's hard to trust the retail payments crypto. We can see the foundation and the infrastructure for things like XRP, Ethereum's not going anywhere, Solana, Chainlink, like they're not going anywhere. We can see the foundation laid for them, right? So that worries me about a lot of the other smaller projects. But the one thing I do know we're going to have is tokenization. I've talked many times. It makes the rich people that don't need the money, it makes them way too much money. Because all tokenization does is open up more money to more markets to allow more trading. And that's what they care about. BlackRock doesn't care if price goes up and down. They care about people buying and selling so they can collect fees. And when things are tokenized, more people have access, and then there's 24/7 trading. There's more trading. More trading volume means more fees. They want those fees. So that's what tells me tokenization is not going anywhere because the banks are going to benefit from it. That's why they want it so badly. So anything that's going to benefit from tokenization is, to me, is a proper investment right now. Because to me, tokenization is inevitable. It's just a question of how much is going to be tokenized, how quickly. If you have at least that much Canton, I think if you wanted to, you can do compound staking on the Braun wallet. Okay. I haven't looked into any of the staking stuff yet. Right now, I just have the majority of it sitting in institutional custody. Kind of still getting my footing on it. I'm actually still building the stack. I invest. So my personal investing strategy, again, not financial advice, but my personal investing strategy, most of you have probably heard it, is 10% of my income for 10 years of my life. I'm going to continue investing into Canton, XRP, HBAR, and Chainlink. I've stopped Ondo for now, but I take the same amount and put it in every single month now. Once I got up to my Canton level to where it matched my XRP, then that's what I'm doing. So literally, if for every $100 I invest, 25 goes to XRP, 25 goes to Canton, 25 goes to Chainlink, and 25 goes to HBAR now. for any money that I put into crypto. Because so basically, I take my 10% and I divide it in half. Half of it goes to crypto, half of it goes to real world assets. That half that goes to real world assets goes to US Treasuries, gold, silver, and copper. And then the other half goes to the 4 cryptos I just listed. It's my way of hedging and keeping myself balanced, but still being heavily invested into crypto. It's more of a boomer strategy, honestly, but hey, you know, I'm 42. I'm about to be 42 years old. You know, I got birthday coming up. I'm not a young buck. I can't be risking everything in the crypto lottery, right? I have kids I have to worry about. You know, I got families and responsibilities, much like all of you, I'm sure. Idaho meat potato, nice job. All right. Honestly, is 24K XRP good? Will my family be okay by next year, do you think? I mean, I'll tell you this, Abdiel. You have more XRP than me, and I can't answer that question for you. I don't know what the price is going to be next year. We don't know what's going to happen with crypto. That's still really up in the air. Again, that's why I've always said that I look at this in a 5 to 10 year light. And to me, it's more about the process and the discipline as opposed to the sheer number. Everyone's looking for, and it's evident in YouTube psychology when you look at keywords and stuff like that. The number is the most eye-catching thing. Like, there's literally a trick I've seen come up when I've used different research tools for keywords and trying to improve my YouTube packaging, if you will, so people click on it. One of the things it tells you is to put a random dollar number in there. Could have nothing to do with the freaking video. It just says put a random dollar number in there because people want to know what the number is. Everyone wants to know it's always about a number. So the best number I can say, there's not an exact number that's going to be right or wrong. We don't know what's going to happen. Everyone's situation's different. I mean, for me, it's about the process, and the process will take care of the number for me. And that's 10% of my income for 10 years of my life. Dollar cost averaging in over time. I'm never after a specific number. I'm just repeating the same process. And in the end, the number will be there. It kind of removes that stress away from it, especially when you start with a strong foundation, right? When you don't have a ton of credit card debt or car loans or things like that. The long view applies to more than just investing. It honestly it applies to my entire life. Don't even get me started on health and fitness. We can go there too. I can make myself feel bad and a lot of other people feel bad when we talk about health and fitness and investing, right? So here's a interesting stat for you guys. What do you think the number one expense is for people over 40? Any guesses? Let me know in the chat. What do you think the number one expense is for people over 40? And I'll answer a couple other questions while hopefully some people answer that. You may have convinced me to get some Canton. Again, I'm trying to talk I'm sharing this with you guys to try and talk me off the ledge, Todd. Crypto is a ruggly game. Yep, you need the long view to make it to the end. Yes, it's ruggly out there. For those of you who missed that, I ended up inventing a word. Ruggly. It's rough and ugly out there. Sometimes I blend words together, and that one came out over a stream, and it stuck. I'm over 90% invested. Okay, you're more of a gambler than an investor. Health, number one. Oh, so I asked, what is the number one expense for people over 40? Health, eating out, medical expenses, insurance. Believe it or not, the number one expense for people over 40 is health and health insurance, healthcare costs. So technically, the smartest investment you can make when you're young is into your own body. We only get one body, and the better it works, the more money we can make, the better we can think, the more productive we can be. And as we get older, we get a return on that investment. Most people who focus on their health live longer, have fewer healthcare expenses, right? But here's the thing, most people aren't going to do that because it's not convenient, right? But that is the truth. And I can speak from personal experience. You all know I didn't take my health seriously until it was almost too late. But health is vitally important. I do love my greenery, but I don't drink. I eat mainly unprocessed whole foods now. I row. I'm getting better at getting back to my rowing. I used to row 20 minutes a day. I'm getting back to doing it. So, but yeah, you only get one, and it's easier to maintain it than it is to fix it. Because when this thing breaks down, you can't get spare parts that easily. That's how it goes. Beer and alcohol. I was a Captain Morgan fan when I did drink back in the day. I had to quit drinking though. I come from a family with a history of alcoholics, so I've seen it destroy too much in my own life, and a lot of people in my family have addictive personalities, so I'm like, I'll just stay away from the alcohol, but I still enjoy my greenery. Old E800. Okay. Yeah, but when you're young, you think you're invincible. Absolutely. I thought I was invincible. I remember sitting in a hospital bed after I had the strokes, and I'm like, they told me I had a stroke. I'm like, what? Get the fuck out of here. I'm 38 years old. I didn't have a stroke. I need to go to work. And they're like, you're not going anywhere. You can't walk right now. So, yeah, I mean, life can kick you in the head really, really fast. Life can change on a dime. But that's, again, why we're here for the long view. Position yourself, get systems in place in case things go wrong. Because ultimately, if any of you have been around life long enough, the one thing we can guarantee is things aren't going to go to plan, and things are going to go wrong. The ability to adapt and overcome and accept the situation for what it is one of the most underrated skills out there. Anything else you guys want to discuss? I feel like I've been ranting. Only barley been working for 100 years. Hundreds of years. Yeah, barley's been good. Cannabis has been working for longer than that, though. Cannabis was around before alcohol. I mean, think about it. The Native Americans used to sit around and smoke their peyote, and then the whites came in and gave them alcohol and made everyone angry and alcoholics. Like, before that, they were just peaceful, smoking weed in the woods, you know. Give them alcohol and they get all fiery. Ruins everything. How'd this poll go? Let's see. Let's close the poll out, see how everyone did. I don't even know how big the stream got up to today. It was just kind of a fun Sunday hangout, see what everyone was doing. How did we finish with the poll? I was told Clear P is your friend. You know, I was told that's not the case for me, but they've got me pumped full of so many vitamins now. I take vitamins in the morning. I take vitamins at night. It doesn't matter. I drink at least 3 liters of water a day. It does not matter. I piss neon yellow 24/7. They got me pumped full of so many multivitamins, man. I can't stand it. I go to the bathroom and I can smell the vitamins in my urine. Like, I don't like it. I hate taking all those multivitamins. I know they're good for my body, but my God. I taking the stuff they have me take now after the strokes, I will never have clear urine again. It will not happen. And I know you guys have taken vitamins. You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you're just paying for expensive piss, it seems like, because most of it's coming right back out. Let's see what's going on in the markets. See if we got any movement. I'll pull up something here. as opposed to you guys just looking at my mug. I don't know how long we've been streaming. Oh, we're over an hour too. That's pretty cool. Let me pull up some charts or something real quick. We can look at something for a minute. And while I give you guys time to chat, XRP sitting at $1.44 right now. Canton moving at a little over 15.5 cents right now. That's good. I increased my position here as well. So I got, here we go. On I can show you on this what I got here. It's like 26,000 Canton on Robinhood right now. And I've got most of it in Caleb and Brown. And then all my XRP and every other crypto I have is in cold storage right now at this point. But XRP is up to $1.44, and of course Bitcoin moved up this morning. Again, still following Bitcoin. No news there. When we're looking at Bitcoin, though, as far as levels, I still want to see it hold this 72,000. Again, it keeps falling back below, but we got a higher leg up here. This is promising. Look at this. This pattern here is promising. If it comes down and holds here, that could give it an opportunity to move up in the 74,000 range. Now, why do I care about Bitcoin? Because everything follows Bitcoin. I'm a realist. It does. I mean, for right now, everything follows Bitcoin till it doesn't. So I have to keep an eye on the Bitcoin chart and try and understand it. But it does look like it's positioning for a potential next leg up. We'll see what happens, but that's the way the pattern is shaping up right now. Let's see. I saw a couple chats go through here. We'll pull this down for now. Talk to you, whoever was chatting. If clarity doesn't pass in April and midterms after that, where would that leave the crypto space? At the mercy of the Democrats is where that would leave the crypto space. Right now, someone wanted me to look up Willfire earlier. I forgot. I'll look it up here in a little bit. If you're still here, let me know in the chat, and I will look it up. I'm sorry, I may have skipped over that. My short-term memory may have got the best of me there. It leaves it in the hands of the Democrats and potential new regulation by enforcement. Because I don't think it's going to get through after midterms, because we're going to lose not we. Well, yeah, I'm a Republican. I'm not a fan of this administration, but I'm a Republican. So Republicans are going to lose control over the House and the Senate. More than likely, we're going to lose control over both come midterms. And if that's the case, then I don't think they're going to let Clarity Act go through. And we're going to have to pray we get another pro-crypto administration next time, but then they're going to have to rewrite all the rules and everything else again. So really, if it doesn't pass by midterms, I'm concerned we might not get it till the next administration. Maybe. And that's very concerning. When I get out of work, I hit the bar, then help close. I used to when I was younger. When I was younger, I did my fair share, especially when I was stationed in Texas. I drank a lot. And college, I drank a lot too. Which is one of the reasons why I quit, because of the fact I could drink so much. I think you had over 50 in here at one point. Oh, for the stream? That's cool. Yeah, the streams are really growing a lot. I've noticed, like, my targeted streams I do, they're knocking on the door of 200 people when I'm live, and then these ones, the kind of more chill ones, are doing more like 50 to 60 people now, whereas it used to be like 30, and then the more targeted streams used to be about 70 people. So I love seeing that the community is growing. It's absolutely amazing, and that's thanks to all you guys. Every time you guys hit the like button, as you guys continuously engage in the chat the whole time, the way YouTube works, that just really helps discovery. It really does. The biggest factors, believe it or not, are how active the stream is in the first 5 minutes. And when I say how active the stream is in the first 5 minutes, that's chats, engagement, likes, and stuff like that. So that's why I've been asking you guys at the beginning of the stream to hit the like button and start chatting right away, because it helps grow the stream and get it out to more people in the community. And you guys do an awesome job of that. Y'all are freaking amazing. I appreciate you. CC needs to drop. Again, Raul, you didn't buy enough last week? I know you got a couple of your orders in there. Yusuf, I eat once a day, then drink barley, then repeat. Never gain a pound. You sound like a guy I was stationed with in the military. I'll never forget it. Sergeant Miller. It was Airman Miller when I was there too. But I mean, he and I were about the same age. But he was that guy. He was like this big, and he would work all day, not eat at all. He'd go home, get cleaned up, take off his uniform, all that stuff. We all go out to the bar. He'd get freaking hammered, and then he'd go home and put away a whole pizza. Like, I'm like, dude, how do you live? You don't eat, and all you do is drink, and then you binge before you go to sleep. Like, how do you not have a food baby in your stomach the next morning and not? I don't understand it. And I'm a big guy, like, and I couldn't eat one meal like he could. I didn't understand it. What's the usage currently on XRP? Last I saw was 3 million transactions per day. I can pull up the XRP scan, but that was reported by Evernorth. I actually did that in a stream yesterday. I don't know if you saw it. Evernorth had a thing that was showing 3 million in transactions, but here on XRP scan, it was still showing around 1 million. So again, it's still hanging around the same. Just hovering just over 1 million. Again, we want to see it surpass what they were doing in 2024 over here when they were doing the CBDC pilots, when they were up over 5 million. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So again, they had a lot of activity when they were doing the CBDC pilots. So once they actually get, that's why one of the reasons too why I was saying we need clarity to really, really open things up for XRP. Because, I mean, this was just pilot activity. If they actually got real world use case activity and not just pilots, like, it should make this look like it's nothing. I mean, real world activity would dwarf this because this was reported to be pilot activity when it was happening. So that's why I've really been high for me with XRP when it comes to utility and focusing on the ledger, because we saw this kind of level of utility. And at this point in time, price was over $3.50. This is one of the times it spiked up to its all-time high. Liberation Day, right? So when we're looking at volume, that's what I'm looking at there. And you can look at the number of active user source tag, right? Also been steady over here as far as new active users every day. But when you look at I've always looked at this because this has always proven to me that it was institutional onboarding, is when you look at the account set activity on the XRPL, accounts coming on chain and off, or not off chain, but accounts coming on chain, getting the rails set up, permissions, things like that. And when you look at what they've been doing here over the last few months versus what they've done in the history of the ledger before that, it's a massive night and day difference. Literally. So, I mean, and this is institutional onboarding. We've determined it literally can't be anything else. It's too big to be retail. So this is institutional onboarding that hasn't obviously translated to payments volume yet. Still waiting. And again, I thought clarity was going to be key to that, as far as the actual volume on the XRP ledger and usage on the XRP ledger. Let me pull up chat again here. Just put your money in XMR. They'll never find you. I got some, need some more. Talking about Canton. Groove lines big into XRP and Canton. Just wondered how a network moving so much can have a price point so low when compared to other crypto. How does the speculation influence the price if utility drives it? Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think speculation is influencing price of Canton Network. That's why we've seen it move differently than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, XRP, and the other tokens all follow speculation. Bitcoin follows the overall tech stocks, and then the rest of the altcoins, Ethereum, XRP, and the rest all follow Bitcoin. But Canton has not. The chart on Canton has been looking completely different than the chart of Bitcoin or any other crypto for that reason. So because of that, and if you actually look at the utility and do the math as far as the burn rate, what's actually being burned every day versus what's being minted every day, the burn to mint ratio, and the utility coming on chain, the actual volume of people purchasing Canton is virtually non-existent. So it doesn't move with retail at all. I was actually talking with someone else about this. I was in someone else's stream talking to him, and I, again, trying to talk myself off a ledge about Canton. And I asked him what he thought about Canton. He's like, he's like, I looked at that. He's like, it was hot for a while. He's like, but there's no volume on it. He's like, I don't trust it because there's no volume. I told him, I said, well, wouldn't volume mean that retail's just not buying it? He's like, yeah, exactly. He's like, so what's driving the price if retail's not buying it? I said, well, if retail's not buying it, then only one thing could be driving the price, right? And that'd be the actual utility. And he's like, yeah, he's like, but what kind of utility could they really have at this point? They just went live. And I told him to look up the repo, and all of a sudden he got interested. It became a different conversation. So that didn't work for talking me off a ledge. But yeah, I mean, utility is what drives it. So right now it's not deflationary. So originally it was, it started off with its pre-mint of 38 billion tokens, which it got halved and then halved again. So right now is kind of the lowest amount of tokens and minted tokens that are happening, while the burn rate's at a 0.83. So as that flips to deflationary, right, it's going to create a supply and demand dynamic, right? Because once it becomes deflationary, well, now they have to burn less CC because it's worth more, and it'll try and work its way back to equilibrium. But when we're talking about tokenization coming on chain, and they just double halved the mint amounts, and we see it spike up as far as the burn to mint ratio, as they bring more tokenization on chain, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to be deflationary. And that the utility will drive the price up as that continues, because they have to buy and use CC in order to pay payments to use the network. Even though it's denominated in US dollars, they have to use CC to pay the gas. That's why the tokenomics work for CC. That's why the infinite supply doesn't bother me, because the utility is going to outdrive it in no time flat. But that's just me. Lucky Coin on AVAX. Welcome to you. That's a new name. Appreciate you taking the time to be here today. If the government hates XMR, that means I love it. We stay away from POS coins, only POW coins. Okay. Well, I mean, honestly, whatever the government loves is probably something we might want to think about investing in. Canton, no max supply, sounds like fiat. It's designed to be slightly inflationary. Actually, it's designed that way. It's designed to both, it's actually inflationary and deflationary. So it's actually not like fiat. So let me explain. So they did a pre-mint. Okay, you guys are all going to get a crash course in tokenomics for Canton, okay? So you can fully understand. So they had a pre-mint, and I want to say it was 38 billion tokens. Doesn't really matter for the exact number, but we'll just say 38 billion. I think that's right. So they had a pre-mint of 38 billion. That's what got everything started. Now, the way tokens, freshly minted tokens, are handed out, it goes to the validators and the app developers. So the validators are people like Coinbase, Gemini, JP Morgan, DTCC, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. You start Redstone, Ledger. You starting to get the picture here? Major companies of super validators and validators on this network. Those are the people who earn Canton. Now they have to lock up 70% of whatever they received, I believe, until 2029. So it's here 2029 or 2030 until they can release those locks. So 70% of everything that's minted gets locked away anyways. That being said, the burn ratio right now is that the burn to mint ratio, as far as the CC burned versus the CC minted every single day, is at a 0.83. They only are doing right now roughly 5 to 7% of the repo market, and that's what's causing that 0.83 burn to mint ratio. Pure utility. Okay. Now, you take that number, extrapolate that. More markets, money market funds, back-end settlement with DTCC. Remember, they won that DTCC pilot on December 8th. That hasn't even started yet, mind you. So as more tokenization comes on chain, and again, this is institutional settlement. That's why institutions became validators, because they're going to get paid to use this. They're going to get paid to keep it up and bring activity to the network. So freshly minted CC goes back to the validators and the app developers. There's a 70% lock. They can't just dump onto the network. And then fees. Fees are paid and denominated in dollars. So that way the fee always stays the same for the user. We'll use a round number. Whatever transaction is, they have to pay $100. Okay. That $100 never changes, but it has to be paid in Canton. So if the network goes deflationary and number goes too high and too volatile, now you need less CC to fill that $100 void for that payment. So that will start bringing it back down to equilibrium. So now the question is, how high will this deflationary era go before it starts working its way back down to equilibrium? And that's going to be determined by how much tokenization comes on chain and how quickly it comes on chain. Does it give it time to balance back out? Right? So that's kind of the way the tokenomics work on Canton. It's designed to constantly be working for a place of equilibrium. However, if tokenization continuously comes on chain, it's going to take a while for it to balance itself back out. And the people who win in that situation are the people who hold Canton. And the majority of the people who hold Canton are the validators and the app developers on the Canton Network. Right? That's why we start getting these valuations, potential valuations for Canton Network in the next 10 years of $25 to $100. Because once the burn starts exceeding the mint, there's going to be a repricing. It's going to take time, and there's no guarantees, not financial advice. That's why it's one of my favorite tokens. I also hold XRP, HBAR, and Chainlink. It's not an all-in-one scenario. There will be several winners, but you do notice a lot of those numbers or a lot of those cryptos all work together. And I also hold Ondo, but I'm not adding any more to that position right now until I see Ondo have some movement. They've been doing a lot of tokenization, but I have not seen any movement or appreciation in the price. So I have slowed my Ondo purchasing, and I just split it now between my 4 pillars of XRP, HBAR, Chainlink, and Canton Network. Yeah, but it's not a stable coin because stable coins don't get burned. They just keep making more of them, right? Stable coins don't get removed from supply. They just keep making more. They keep printing more. So that's why I said it's designed to both be inflationary and deflationary, because the purpose is to keep a state of equilibrium. And I actually did further research. I didn't want to share it because it's complete speculation, but based on like the numbers and everything, the equilibrium target price of Canton Network, based on how things are working and the amount of tokenization and everything, the equilibrium price it spit out to me was somewhere between $100 and $1,000. I don't know if that's real. I'm not trying to start that nonsense. I'm not trying to start another Jake Claver or David Schwartz. It has to be $10,000 to operate. But based on the amount of tokenization, burn mint ratio, stuff like that, Apparently, the perfect equilibrium price for Canton Network would be somewhere between $100 and $1,000 per token. But who knows? I'm not banking on that. That's tinfoil hat, pure speculation. I'll say that completely up front. But yeah, absolutely. Do some research. That's the thing. I just want people to look at it because no one freaking has a clue what CC or Canton Network is. Just go look at it. Do your own research. You can say I'm crazy. That's fine. Just look at it. Just think about it. Look at it. That's it. That's all I'm saying. You can make up your own mind from there. I think it's a huge potential possibility, but that's just me. A lot of these cryptos are a big, huge potential possibility, to be honest with you. Can you share later/tomorrow, what you asked AI again for CC price? When I search, you get a max of 25 cents. Okay. So let me pull it up for you. I have no problem showing exactly what I put in there, and I'll show you. Let me pull up the right screen here. And again, this was with Grok, GPT, and Gemini. Cross-reference with several. So, hold up. My exact statement right here. I want you to help me forecast the performance of CC. Currently, the burn to mint ratio on CC is at 0.83 since January. And then I said since January 3rd of 2026, they have gone from 837,000 per day in fees to 3 million per day. Currently, the blockchain is doing roughly 5% of repo. Can you do deep research into tokenization and markets coming on chain and the expectation over the next 10 years as adoption and utility ramps up? Do deep research to correct any inaccuracies. To me, I said to be, but to me, it seems inevitable that the token will become deflationary very soon as utility continues to ramp up. If price is now 15.2 cents at the current level of utility, what is the story for CC over the next year, over the next 10 years? And then I said, I currently hold 60,000 CC. That's not my exact number. I wanted to use a reference number to see what it said. But that was the exact definition I put because these were the data points that I had. I was wanting to base it kind of mathematically because we can see how much is being processed and how it affects the burn to mint ratio. And then it went on to explain tokenization, the backing. It said that right here, your provided data seems largely accurate based on available sources. No major corrections are needed. So it said that all the data was good. It kind of gave a background of how everything works. And again, if you guys want, you can pause this and read it. I'm not going to reread it again. I already read the whole thing once. But it went down here and gave market size projections based on tokenization. And then the growth drivers and adoption trends from between now and 2036. So I can actually adjust this to whatever I want. So let me see here. So, and then it went to the story and told me exactly what it was going to be. It said between 2026 and 2028, we should expect a 3 to 5x, or right here, price targets 40 to $1 would be 6 to 7x, scaling between $1 to $5. Midterm 29 to 2032. Right, assuming 20 to 30% of on-chain finance flows on Canton, at generating roughly 100 million in daily fees, price of $5 to $20 plus. And then under the long term, and again, this was the base case under the long term, if tokenization hits 30 trillion plus and deflation continues to persist, CC could 100x, and long term, your holding would be worth 1.2 to 6 million. But again, that's based on the amount of tokenization, equities settling, it says right here, what's being tokenized, global finance, how many trillion. This is 18 to 61 trillion. So it depends on how much tokenization and what kind of share Canton gets. But the exact statement was right here. I'll leave that up for you to read. If you guys want to play with that, adjust it, do your own research with it. That was kind of what the basic outlook I gave the AI to run with. And then again, cross-reference to make sure there were no inaccuracies in the statement, and that was real data. And that's what it spit out as far as numbers. Oh, I was going to leave that up, wasn't I? I just said I was going to leave that up. I wonder if I pull this up, if it'll make it. No, good, it still works. Then I will ask George. Cryptos are us. Okay. You're crazy. What you drinking in that Coke? You know I'm playing you right about CC. I wish I had some THC in this Coke. I'll be honest with you, I'm down to my last eighth. I have to go to the store tomorrow, get some more. Take it easy this evening, you know. We got up to 40 people in the stream tonight. That's not bad for a little hangout session. That's good. Got up to 40 tonight. We're down to about 27 right now. Y'all are starting to dwindle on me. But I just wanted to hang out, have fun night, say hi to everybody. This is all I was going to do anyway, was just research, so I might have played a little bit of World of Warcraft, but I'm sure you guys don't want to watch that. What up, Gunpowder? You're catching on at the end here. I've been live for an hour and a half. XRP pump, he says. Let's see what we're up to now. I was sharing some research on CC today. I was just sitting here at the computer hanging out researching, so I figured I'd go live and share with you all. Oh yeah, we are running now. We're getting a nice little shot up here. Bitcoin going straight up the chain here, 73,000. Hang on. What's XRP doing? Woo! That looks nice. XRP shooting up to 147. Again, I want to see it cross 151. That was the last high we got. Was back here, right? I want to see it break this 151 level and hold it, because we hit off of it right here and weren't able to get past it last time. I want to see it pass it. But I do like seeing a nice little pump. I've been sitting here researching CC. I didn't even see this spike. Look at that. That's lovely. Up 3.5% today. What's gold doing? What is pumping the markets tonight? I told you I thought the good news going on with the war might pump things a little bit. Looks like we were right about that. What's going on with oil? Oil's actually down a little bit. It was 99.25 when futures closed on Friday afternoon, down to 98.72 now. It did spike earlier, but it came back down. Let's check gold futures. See what silver and gold is doing. Gold's choppy. Okay, silver. What's silver doing? Silver's down. Big. Silver's back in the 70s. For anyone who is looking for a buying opportunity to get silver in the $70 range, I don't think is bad. But again, not financial advice. I made my last purchase of silver at $76, me personally. So the fact it's in the 70s barely, I don't think is a bad entry for silver right now, honestly. CC's moving up again a little bit, 15 to 2.5 cents. That's good. As you can see, my average buy on Robinhood's a little bit underwater, but that's okay. I am okay with that. It will go up in the end. I put my larger buy orders for that on Caleb and Brown, so I'm good with that. I like to sometimes I'll pick it up on Robinhood because it's easier for me to pick up $100 there or $50 there because Canton, or because Caleb and Brown, the minimal buy order is 500, so I use that for my larger orders. I have to work extra this week so I can get more CC and XRP. Oh, Raul, it's starting to pump right now. Good evening, LongView Sunday stuff. Nice. Yeah, it was just me. I was just honestly sitting here hanging out, researching. Oh, it's on the wrong screen now. I was just sitting here hanging out, researching, and I was like, you know what? Let me go live. Let me just share it with everyone. I mean, it's all I'm going to be doing anyway. Might as well hang out and talk to y'all. It's pumping quite a bit right now. Yeah, it is. We were just looking at that. I'll bring it back up here in a second. It's going up. Let's go. Everyone loves to see a pump. It always feels good for number to go up, but how high will it go? I want to see it go past $1.50. You could have put in a long... I could have, but actually the cash that I was using to do longs and shorts and stuff, Raul, believe it or not, I actually used to buy more crypto this weekend. I bought the dips, and I loaded up more Canton, more HBAR, more Chainlink, more XRP, and moved it all off chain with the exception of Canton. Moved it all into my cold storage accounts. I loaded up some more. I've just got this sneaky suspicion. Something's about. I've had this sneaky feeling, gut feeling, instinct thing that crypto's about to get a nice little pump here as soon as Iran is walked back, because there was so much global uncertainty and so much panic all at the same time. I feel like as soon as we get a bit of stabilization, there's going to be some kind of pump. And then we see this happen today after they talk about a world coalition getting together to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Makes me feel that could be right, but that's just me. The 4 days of rain and wind got you busy. I'm sure it does. I mean, I know it was snowing here today, so check it out. Here's Kansas City weather for y'all. I do love Missouri, but sometimes I hate it. Yesterday, it was 76 degrees and sunny. I went and actually hit golf balls for the first time. Felt great. First time this year I went and hit golf balls. Got my body moving. Hit some golf balls. I just got 4 inches of snow tonight. It's 28 degrees. I got 4 inches of snow. Welcome to Missouri. Don't like the weather? Wait 5 minutes. It'll change. 75 and sunny out golfing yesterday. Today, blistering cold and 4 inches of snow. It does not make freaking sense. I feel bad for people who have allergies that live in Missouri. The flowers are all running around like Ann Hesh. I'm out. I'm in. They don't know what to freaking do. Yusuf. When I move my crypto around, I always use Sui. I spent $13.50 for 43 cents, like instant time, very fast. Okay. When I move stuff around, most of the stuff I move on XRP Ledger anyway, because I move my USDC on XRP Ledger. I obviously move my XRP on XRP Ledger. And then HBAR, Chainlink, and Ondo and all those. I move usually either on their native or Ethereum if they run them, because you have to. I use whatever I have to for those. I prefer the XRP Ledger because of the cheap transfers. I was talking with Kelly about that the other day because she was getting hosed on transferring and buying USDC. I'm like, no. You shouldn't have to pay for that crap. I'm like, you shouldn't have to pay for those. And I showed her my transaction. Oddly enough, I actually had a transaction where I sent USDC. I sent USDC from Robinhood to Caleb and Brown and somehow made 11 cents. Don't know how it happened, but I sent one price and received 11 cents higher. So I actually made money doing a transfer at one point. Stellar and HBAR. Awesome. What's going on, Clint? Welcome. Good to have you in the stream today. Waiting for XRP to drop between $1.15 and $1.20, which I think is coming soon, and hope CC comes down below 14. When I was doing technical analysis on CC, again, not financial advice, I saw it get down. I saw it getting down to 14 cents, and then I saw it triple tap that area, and I predicted a shot up to 21 cents. I personally don't think it's going to go down lower. But again, I very well could be wrong. That's why I say it's not financial advice. That's just my instinct and guess and what I was going with. That's why I had my buy order in at 14.5 cents for it, because I didn't think it was going to go lower than that based off what I'd been seeing. Is CC on Tangem? Not yet, to my knowledge, and I can't wait for it to, because I do use Tangem. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, they're offering 20% off all their stuff. They're having actually, I think they're offering a 25% off all their stuff right now. So if you want to get a cold storage wallet, you want to get one of the new Ring wallets, you want access to their DEX, whatever, they do have a sale going on right now. And if you want to, you can use code LongView and get an additional 10% off. So if you need a new wallet, now's a good time. You can get up to 35% off. Let's see here. Joy Mobs H bar is also, everything's pumping right now. The whole shebang is pumping. Retail buyers don't see the vision XRP will sell to realize profit rather than hold for large gains that will eventually come. You know, there's truth to that Operation Buzz, because think about it. Right now, the XRP rich list is basically the top 10%. You only need to hold 2,230 XRP. So if, think about this real quick. Say XRP goes to $15. How many people are going to sell? Right? Then it goes to $25. How many people are going to sell then? Or $40 or $50, right? By the time it gets to, you know, $100, $1,000, whatever it may be, by the time it gets there, majority of retail is going to be sold out of it, right? So this concept that everyone's going to, or they won't let that many people get rich or whatever, number one, very few people know about it to begin with. The people who do, majority of them are going to sell out on the way up anyway. So yeah, most people will realize the profit rather than hold it. That's why I don't plan on selling any of my XRP, but I have multiple bags, and one of which is one cold storage wallet I have is dedicated to never be sold, no matter what. I have no plans on selling any of my XRP, but I literally have a cold storage wallet put in a safety deposit box with the keys for the cold storage wallet in a different safety deposit box. That is, I literally made it almost impossible to get rid of, and that was for a reason. You think it's setting up to be the mother of all short squeezes? I mean, if it does, that's going to be a buying opportunity for people. If not, then it's not. You know, if not, the number go up and people are happy that way. Again, buying opportunities, it all depends, really. CC's also on Exodus. Okay. You're waiting for Tangem Multi-S. Okay. Or Multi-Sig. I got you. Yeah. And again, whatever you guys want to do. I just try to give you guys the options and let you know what I use. Like, honestly, most of my crypto is held in my LA Pal Titan 2.0. It's an air gap cold storage wallet, but I like the Tangem wallet because it basically replaces my warm wallet. So I don't have to use, you know, a base wallet, MetaMask, or Trust Wallet, or any of that stuff anymore. I use the Tangem wallet because it's basically a more secure version of a warm wallet. Plus, it has a DEX on it too, and you can actually do crypto payments from it now also. So I can actually pay my Visa or MasterCard in USDC from my Tangem. So I've actually removed most of my assets completely from the financial system now. 90% of my assets are out of banks completely, which I love. Because especially when we're in the middle of a war, when there's cyber attacks going on, you never know what's going to happen. So I took custody over my stuff. If we can get news that Senate Banking Committee is scheduling a markup vote, that will be a spark that lights the fuse. I actually think they're supposed to be meeting next week to discuss it. Either this week or next week. I believe they're working on it. We'll see. I heard they're getting together for the Senate Banking GOP is getting together for a meeting either this week or next week. I'll have to go back and look at the bookmarks. I'll try to have that updated information for you tomorrow. I don't have it handy right now. I usually try to get that stuff pulled up before I stream. But I'm pretty sure I saw something about them meeting sometime soon. Whoa, not enough memory. It just cleared out my chat, you bastard. Let me get a new chat going. Give me a second here. You guys broke the chat. Too much memory. Let me fix it. Hang tight. I do love it when we have streams that do that, when the pop-out chat gets too full and it ends up breaking it. Let me pull this out real quick. Hang on. Let me fix this so I can pull up our chats. That's the second time that's happened in a stream. So the chat, the way the chat works in YouTube, I have to like pop it out into a separate bar so I can overlay it so you guys can see it here on the screen with me. Let me see. Yeah, so you guys can see it here on the screen like that. I have to pop it out into a separate screen. Well, apparently when you do that, it can only handle so much memory or so many chats before it crashes out. And you guys have actually crashed it out twice in the history of me streaming just from doing so many chats, which is freaking amazing. What do you think of iTrust is Caleb and Brown? I don't have an opinion on iTrust. I haven't worked with them. I haven't researched them. So I really don't have any opinion on them, both positively or negatively. I've worked with Caleb and Brown. I am a Caleb and Brown partner, and I absolutely love it. The only thing that's difficult with Caleb and Brown is getting your account, your bank account set up with them at first. Some banks are difficult because they're an Australian company. But aside from that, once you get past that part, it's very awesome. Very streamlined. You can pick up your phone. You can call your own broker. All of that stuff. So you can pick up the phone and talk to people. You can put in buy orders. They get executed because they're being done by a person with real liquidity. Raul can attest to that one. The first time he missed his buy order, we were talking. He's like, yeah, I missed my buy order because the spread, I had my buy order set at this price. It hit that price, but because the spread that he had to pay marked it up higher, it didn't fill his buy order. Whereas mine got filled because my buy order set at that price. It hit that price, and I just pay my flat fee with Caleb and Brown. I don't have to worry about spreads or anything like that. And again, they offer free institutional custody. Operation Buzz on Trezor and Decent cold wallets. I've heard great things about Trezor, and then Decent. I've heard good things about Decent, but I don't use it, so I've never personally used them, Trezor or Decent. So I can't really speak to how well they may or may not work. I've heard very, very good things about Trezor. A lot of people swear by Trezor. But I've never used Decent. The only person I've heard talk about Decent is Jake Claver. And to be honest with you, that just makes me not want to use it. But, hey, you know. Well, okay, iTrust versus Caleb and Brown. Well, I kind of answered that. I can't say anything positive or negative about iTrust, but I do love Caleb and Brown. If you're interested, links in the description. You can use my same broker if you want. But yeah, links in the description for you if you guys want to give them a check. I just ask that you use the link because it does help the channel. I appreciate y'all. Jonathan Crouch, you like ETH? Okay. I was told Cold Card is the best cold wallet. Interesting. I've never heard of that one. I think they should cap of the banks to 10% on CC. Well, the validators are capped at 20%. And they're at that right now. So the validators are currently capped at 20%. They cannot earn any more than 20% for the rest of the time Canton's in existence, unless they write something new, which I don't expect. But you have to think about how much Canton they actually have locked up right now. They're going to make their money if it appreciates. Big banks, the early validators are going to make a ton of money when it appreciates. Joymob says the Uphold debit card is pretty cool. I haven't used that. I don't use a debit card anymore. I just use my credit cards, and I pay those off at the end of the month because I literally have most of my money out of the banks now. So I don't even use money to pay my bills anymore. I use my credit cards to pay my bills, and then I pay off my credit card. I use one credit card. I have a credit card that gives me 2% cash back on everything. And I use that credit card to pay all my bills, groceries, whatever, throughout the month. And then at the end of the month, I pay off my credit card with USDC. It's just easier that way for me, and it keeps me out of the banks. And once the private credit companies started freezing withdrawals and limiting withdrawals and stuff like that over the last month and a half or so, and then there's talks about, cyber attacks on credit card companies and banks, I just figured better safe than sorry. I'll take custody of my own crypto. It's the newer generation. What's the newer generation? I don't know. I guess I don't know what you're referring to about the newer generation. The newer generation of crypto? I think this era of crypto that we're getting into, number one, it's really exciting, obviously. There's something new to talk about literally every day. But this era of crypto, I feel like is our era. This is the era of the long-term investor. This is the era of the long view method, essentially. I think those are the people who are going to be successful. The people who take a more traditional approach to investing, I think are going to be the big winners in this cycle. The rest, if the boom or bust concept, I don't feel works anymore. A lot of people have lost a lot of money over the last 4 or 5 years because crypto is just not moving the same as it used to. It's not moving in traditional cycles. But which app do you use to pay your credit cards with USDC? Well, I have one credit card that I use to pay with my USDC, and I can actually do that through brain. Capital One? Yeah, Capital One. They allow you to pay in USDC. I heard vendors are going to stop taking cashback credit cards since they have to pay the cash back. So that's a misconception. Vendors are full of it. Here's what's happening. Yeah, vendors don't necessarily pay the cash back. What's happening is this is why payments is such an issue. Okay? So vendors have to pay the fee to use debit and credit cards. Usually it's like 3%, 4%, depending on which one it is. That's why a lot of places don't like to take American Express because they have a higher fee, but they are also the most protected line of credit, which is the one I use, by the way, American Express. They're the most protected. If something ever goes wrong, I don't have to worry about it. If someone's making false payments on my credit card, American Express handles it. I don't have to deal with anything. So with American Express, you pay off everything. What was I going to say? Okay. So the vendor fees, that's right. So the vendor gets charged 4% fees, and then MasterCard gets their piece, or whoever gets their piece. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, whichever one. They get their little piece, and then the banks get their little piece. Okay. And now some vendors charge you that 3 or 4%. I don't know if you've ever been to a place, but they're like, oh, you know, you got to pay an extra 3% if you're using a debit or a credit card, right? So that fee, we're moving to blockchain, people. That fee's going to go away. Banks don't like that. That's free money for them. Once everything went digital, once everything went on internet, once everyone started swiping those freaking cards, they started making so much money that they were never supposed to make to begin with. It's not the business of banking. That payments was never the business of banking. It was not supposed to be, right? That did not happen until the internet, until we started using digital money and credit cards and debit cards. That's when we started getting all those freaking fees, all right? So now blockchain's coming in and they're talking about deposit flight risk and stablecoin yields and all that stuff. I guarantee you that's not what the banks care about. They care about those fees they're going to start losing every time someone had to make a debit card payment or every time someone went to swipe their debit card anywhere. That little one, think about it. Every time you swipe your debit card, the bank's getting 1.5%. And they're usually taking it from the vendor or it's being passed directly on to you. I believe that the real holdup with Clarity is circled and centered around payments. Because once things go on the blockchain and you can make payments for free, we shouldn't have to pay these vendor fees, or the vendors shouldn't have to pay these credit and debit card fees when blockchain technology does it for essentially free, especially USD to USD. There's no middleman whatsoever. Why do they have to charge a 3% fee for you to spend your own money in a form that they want you to spend it as far as debit cards or credit cards, right? The whole banking system is such a greedy scam. And when you really start pulling back all the layers, you see how dirty and nasty it really is. They nickel and dime you to death, and they fight tooth and nail to hang on to every penny they're scraping out of our pockets. Like they freaking need more of it. I hate the banks, man. Descent is really good and easy to use. I believe it. I've never used it, so I can't say one way or another. KC is the town. I do like KC. I do enjoy it. I do like it. It's you got a very diverse group of people. Most people are nice and good to get. I mean, there's bad parts of every city, just like, you know, anything. But the majority of it's really, really nice. And honestly, even the bad parts aren't that bad. I've been around. I've been to different cities and I've gone down streets I shouldn't have gone down in Philadelphia and Jersey and even parts of San Antonio and Dallas. You know, I've been in parts of town I shouldn't be in, and Kansas City's got nothing on that. Kansas City's safe compared to that nonsense. I love Kansas City. Gemini credit card earns me crypto as well. Yeah, absolutely. They're Gemini. I know that they started doing it and giving back an XRP. Gemini is a validator for Canton Network, by the way, everybody. Just so you know. All right, guys. Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours tonight in just a hangout session. It was good hanging out with y'all. I'll see y'all in about 12 hours, I guess, 13 hours. I'll be back on here a little bit. I'll be back on here tomorrow, and we'll cover whatever we cover. I'll work on the topic between now and then. I feel like we discussed a lot about Canton. Got to touch base with a lot of you today. This is a fantastic stream. I appreciate you guys all taking your time to be here. What I was saying, they should cap the credit card to 10%. That will piss the banks. Here's why I don't think that'll happen, Raul. You have to look at the bigger picture on that. Because if they were to cap credit cards to 10%, that means less people are going to qualify for credit cards, and they'll have lower spending limits, which will slow spending, which will hurt our economy. Which will, it'll piss off the banks. It's going to crush our economy. Like that's the double-edged sword we have to pay attention to. It's not always as simple as we would like it to be, because if they put a cap on credit cards, yeah, that's cool. It's going to keep people from taking out debt they shouldn't, but it's also going to cripple economic spending because people won't have credit available to spend. Most people live off credit. Most people don't have the cash to do the things they want to do. They have to put it on credit. Most people don't get ahead that way. And granted, I agree that it's debt-based slavery, that the car payments and the credit cards and getting in an astronomical amount of debt is debt-based slavery. People need to make better decisions. Policing them by that would be essentially policing people's own spending habits, which is kind of no better than CBDCs. But yeah, it would be good for people, but it would crush the economy, which would be bad for people. It's always a double-edged sword. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you all